Hello guys, Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the Prisma Grakata. Now in this video series I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors like Warframe abilities, Warframe damage, pets putting statuses on it, things like that. I just test the weapon itself. So let's get into the Prisma Grakata here. So the Prisma Grakata is a primary weapon. The Prisma version is going to be an upgraded version of the normal Grakata with slightly increased stats. So the Prisma version you are going to have to get through Barrow Katir. He comes once every 2 weeks. Hey, Marcellus, how you doing this morning? I have to tell you, Marcellus, I was grinding out Pal World yesterday. I might be competing with you pretty soon. So you get the Prisma Grakata through Barrow Katir. And yeah, he comes once every 2 weeks. So it's kind of random when he comes. You can buy this from the market. It is a tradable item, but it might be a little bit expensive. So best to just wait for it. Okay, we'll get to the build here. Anything special about the Grakata? Not really. It's a pretty standard weapon. It has like an above average critical multiplier. But other than that, it's pretty standard. It does have some pretty unique mods for it. So let me type in Grakata here. Now, we're not going to use any of these mods on this build, but I just wanted to kind of show them off. So you have Brainstorm that can be put on the Grakata, which is on headshot, you get 100% ammo efficiency for 0.5 seconds. That's not really that good, I would say. Brainstorm's not really worth using. Now, this one, though, Wild Frenzy. Look at this here. Secondary fire, so it gains an alt fire with this. So secondary fire will shoot with 400% fire rate until the magazine is empty, and then killing 2 or more enemies will refund 100% of the ammo. So this is kind of memey. It's not good. You can make a build out of this, but it's going to be more of like a memey build that's not a very serious build. But I actually have a little bit in my config B at the end of the video. I have a little bit of a meme build set up just to kind of to show crazy stuff you can do with this. But again, it's just kind of more for fun. But this is an interesting mod here. But again, we're not using those two. I just wanted to kind of show them with the Grakata. Okay, so it's going to be a pretty basic build. We're going to go Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot. We're going to go Galvanized Scope for headshot or critical chance on headshot. We're going to go Serration in this slot for flat damage. There are 2 other options for this slot, and it's going to be Galvanized Aptitude is the most obvious option for that slot. So Serration is going to do a little bit better on little enemies, and Galvanized Aptitude is going to do a little bit better on Eximus and Thrax enemies. Up to you what you want to use. Just know, like when you watch the video, if I'm fighting a Thrax or an Eximus, just imagine that if I had Galvanized Aptitude on, it would have done a little bit better against that enemy. But I'm going to be keeping Serration on. The other mod that is competitive with this slot is going to be Bladed Rounds. So this build is an orange crit build, and Bladed Rounds gets better the higher crit tier you get. So once you get to orange crits, like Bladed Rounds starts being pretty decent. Like it starts being pretty competitive for this slot right here. And then this weapon having a higher than average critical multiplier, Bladed Rounds is even better because of that. So like, don't sleep on Bladed Rounds. Bladed Rounds can very easily compete with Serration and Galvanized Aptitude as well. So that's kind of up to you what you want to use in this slot here. This is also your Riven slot though. If you get a Riven, more than likely it's just going to be put on this slot. So if you don't want to think about it too much, you can just plop Serration on and just get some, a little dumb flat damage increase that you don't really have to think too much about. Next slot here, we got Prime Shred. It's going to be fire rate and punch through. And, there's better fire rate mods than Prime Shred that give you more fire rate, but that punch through is what lets single target weapons be somewhat competitive with like the AoE meta. And so that's why Prime Shred is so good. Now, it's a login reward, so I know not everyone's going to have it. And in that case, just put whatever fire rate mod you want. If you want to use the big one that gives you like 90 fire rate, that's cool. If you want to use a smaller one that gives you 60 fire rate, that's cool. Doesn't really matter. Just use any kind of fire rate mod. But if you have access to Prime Shred, that is going to be the one to choose because that punch through is going to change your life. Then these two here, pretty easy. This is going to be just crit chance, crit damage. Nothing much to say there. And then finally, in this these last two slots, we're going to be making viral. So just a toxin and a cold mod. If you're playing Whispers content, Whispers enemies are resistant and immune to viral. So you're going to be wanting to switch to corrosive for Whispers enemies. In the Exilus slot, we're going to be using Stabilizer because this weapon does have a good amount of kick. The other option for the Exilus slot is going to be Primed Rifle Ammo Mutation, just because this weapon has a very high ammo pool, but it blazes through its ammo pretty quickly. If I kill enemies quick enough, like if I'm using if I'm getting full value out of my punch through and killing like 2 or 3 enemies where I would have been killing 1 without punch through, I shouldn't have ammo issues. But this weapon can have ammo issues if you're not like killing enemies in the most efficient ways possible. So this is an option. I like Stabilizer. It's going to feel the weapon's going to feel a lot better, but you could have ammo issues if you're not killing super efficiently. Okay, and then in the Arcane slot, we're going to be using Primary Deadhead. Primary Deadhead, I believe, easily beats out Primary Merciless on this weapon, just because you're going to get more negative weapon recoil, which is, or less weapon recoil, which is good for this weapon because it has a lot of recoil, and you're going to get headshot multiplier, and you're going for headshots because of Galvanized Scope, and you get the 360% flat damage. So that's a pretty easy choice right there. And that's pretty much it about the Prisma Grakata. Nothing, again, nothing too special about it except for some of the unique mods it comes with. We're going to do a 10-minute Kuva survival with this, on Steel Path, of course. And then we're going to do a 10-minute Lua Conjunction. So, and again, I test this weapon on its own merits, so because of that, I'm not going to be mixing it with anything. So I'm going to be doing this on an Inaros with no Archon shards, no mods or arcanes that affect weapon damage,
covered in blood.
and no Sentinel weapon, and a Sentinel with no mods that affect weapon damage. All right, let me stop running my mouth, and we will get into the Kuva survival.
Scans show Green are harvesting Kuva nearby. Set off the alarm.
I'm going to cast my 4 to double my armor, and that'll be the last ability I use. If I have to use an ammo pad, I'll make sure I say so.
As expected, Grenier have shut down the environmental systems, sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain.
So it's going to start at yellows, and then you'll see once I get a few headshots, it's going to go up to oranges. So this weapon gets a lot of like people joking about it because, you know, it's like Clem's weapon, the Grakatas. Actually, he uses the dual Grakata secondaries. But it's actually a decent Steel Path weapon. It's not a horrible Steel Path weapon. I actually quite like it. It does better than some of the Kuva and Tenet weapons in the game, which I find kind of funny. So if you lose a stack or 2 of Galvanized Scope, you'll see you're going to go back into a little bit of yellow crits, but as soon as you get your Scope stack back up, you're back into full oranges. So it's not that big of a deal. So you're kind of, with full, like 5 stacks of Galvanized Scope, you will be in full oranges. But you're going to be like just at full oranges. So as soon as you lose 1 stack of Scope, you're back down into yellow, oranges with some yellow sprinkled in, which is not horrible. But that is something to think about with bladed rounds. Like, bladed rounds is a really, really good option for that either Serration or Galvanized Aptitude slot. But the way I look at bladed rounds is if I can maintain orange or red crits 100% of the time, like, bladed rounds is usually going to beat out those other 2. But with this weapon, you know, losing like 1 stack of Scope, you're back into like a little bit of yellows. It's still probably competitive against those other two, and it might even be better than those other two. But it's just something to think about. That yes, this is technically a full orange crit build when you are at max scope stacks, but you're not always going to be at max scope stacks. You might have to run and get life support, and while you're running, you're losing a stack here and there. All right, so we have the Eximus here. So it's not horrible against Eximuses, but just imagine if I had Aptitude, it's going to be a lot better. So on Eximuses, Aptitude will win out. And that's a leech too, so I'm probably sitting in this pool trying to healing them while I'm shooting at them. I always end up doing that. Okay, I am going to try to remember to hit a life support so I don't do what I do sometimes. Everyone loves the Grakata. Weirdly, like I said, weirdly, the Prisma Grakatas aren't that bad. They're pretty good. And without any scope stacks, you're going to be in full yellows. So you saw there, I was in full yellows until I got a few headshots. So going back up to full scope stacks, and I'll be back up to full oranges in a second here. Again, not a big deal. It's just something to kind of know. Don't they cost 3 rounds to shoot, or is that the normal version? That is a good question. Here, let me like tap the bullet, or tap. Every tap looks like it's shooting 2 rounds. Unless like it shoots so quickly that my tap is just like shooting 2 rounds. It does have a ridiculous fire rate, which is why critical delay is actually not that bad to put on it, because the little 20% reduction in fire rate's not a horrible thing. I know you're having fire rate with Prime Shred, but you're using Prime Shred a lot of the times for the punch through. All right, let me get somewhere a little bit more efficient. Again, when you're using Prime Shred, you want to be like trying to line enemies up. That's where you get the most efficiency out of Shred. So like situations like this where I kind of can goad them down a hallway. So if you've noticed, I have had ammo issues. I'm at 80 ammo right now. I am going to use 1 ammo pad. I'm going to hit this life support, and then I'm going to use 1 ammo pad. And that's why I was saying Stabilizer makes the weapon feel a lot better. But Primed Rifle Ammo Mutation is an option because this weapon is, even though it has 1,000 ammo pool, you blaze through that ammo. All right, we have the Acolyte coming, and we don't have any scope stacks. So I'm going to try to find some little guys to get some scope stacks from. Just because I want to show the weapon in its full glory against the Acolyte, not yellow crits. Now, in its full glory, I don't think it's a great Acolyte killer, but it's not too bad. So 1 magazine, took his shields, and did about like maybe 1/5 of his health. He is in this group somewhere. So, of course, on the series, we've had weapons that were horrible at Acolyte killing. So this weapon is kind of like, it's not good. I mean, it's not a good Acolyte killer, but it's not a bad one either. Like, that wasn't super inefficient to kill the Acolyte with. Now, kind of the same thing with the Eximus and Thraxes. If I had Galvanized Aptitude on, it would have felt a little bit better than having Serration on. So, Serration will feel better against smaller enemies because they'll pretty much die almost instantly. But Aptitude will feel a little bit better against Eximuses, Thraxes, and even the Acolytes. that's just kind of a personal preference. Like, you know, what do you want? Do you hate fighting Eximuses? Do you want to kill trash super quickly and efficiently? So when an enemy has to have God, let me do the math right. I think it's 3. I think they have to have 3 unique statuses on them for it to do more damage than Serration. Because I think it goes up to 80. So 2 would be 160, 3 would be, you know, another 80 over that. But Galvanized Aptitude is more of like a ramp up. You don't get that full damage right off the bat. You get that full damage when the enemy eventually has 3 or 4 statuses on them. And that's why, like, Serration's not always like a bad option because of that. Because enemies that die quick enough, like, they're not going to have 3 or 4 stacks on them. Like, again, trash enemies that die super quick. And that's why I'm saying, like, Serration's better at trash. Aptitude's going to be better at Eximuses. You know, and then you also get the 80 status chance with Aptitude as well, which helps. That helps you get your statuses up quicker, and it gets you to 10 stacks of viral quicker. Oh, my weapon got stolen. Nope, that is a cell. Where's my weapon? There it is. Oh my goodness, stole my weapon again. Did they? Yep, there it is. Oh, I hate these little Drakmasters. There he is, I see him. He's dead, okay. Nope, there apparently is another Drakmaster in there. I will find you. I will find you somewhere there, Drakmaster. Okay, so when we do these tests, average weapons usually hit at about 350 to 400 kills. So we'll see what this weapon is going to get us at. I feel like this weapon's pretty average, so I don't think it's going to get like over 400. But I think it's going to hit like in the higher averages. Maybe like 390s, I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess 390s. Okay, 10 minutes, we're at 376. 376. So right in the middle of the averages. That's pretty much what we expected. I'm going to head over to Extraction, but I'm actually going to fight this Acolyte that's coming. Although I need a weapon, I guess. And the Drakmaster has once again stolen it. So I don't care if I run out of life support now because I'm just going to head to Extraction, so I'm not worried about that. We have Misery. I can never remember which one uses Zephyr's Turbulence. It's either Misery or Mania. So if all of a sudden I am not doing any damage to Misery, I will switch to Melee. I'm going to switch to some little guys, try to get back up into Oranges, and then go back to the Acolyte. Alright, into Oranges. Yes, I know I'm out of air. I was into Oranges before I got staggered like 3 times in a row. Oh, there he is. He's right in my face. Got to be careful about face tanking Acolytes because they can do a shitload of damage. And they'll do it very quickly. It's kind of like, it kind of creeps up on you. You'll let an Acolyte beat on you and he won't really be doing any damage, and then all of a sudden you're dead and you're like, what the hell happened? So once again, if you look at the ammo, I'm going to be having ammo issues here. I'm going to kind of fly past this group, see if I can pick up anything. I didn't, so I'm going to put a ammo pad down. That'll be the second ammo pad I've used. So I had to use 1 during the 10-minute run, and then 1 during this fight here. I should fight kind of close to my ammo pad, that way I can get more ammo from it. You know, of course, if you have better aim than I do, you could probably kill him a little bit better. I have poor aim. Here we go. Okay. So we'll head over to the... Can you see if the P Grakata is pretty good? Oh yeah, it's good. Actually, the Prisma Grakata is really good. This is a well, I shouldn't say it's really good. It's average, but a lot of people view the Grakata as just like a meme shitty weapon, and it's not. It's actually like a respectable steel path weapon. Not amazing. It's not going to compete with like the meta Incarnans or anything right now, but it's a strong weapon still. Okay, so we got 376 when we hit the 10-minute mark, which is average. You know, a lot of the Kuva weapons were hitting average numbers, which is good. Yeah. All right, I'm going to hit the Lua Conjunction next. And then after Lua Conjunction, I have a little special thing set up with the Grakata's meme mods that you usually don't put on. The ones that give like 400% fire rate. Just kind of like a little extra that's not actually competitive at all, but it's funny. Okay, I'm going to cast my 4 to double my armor, and that'll be the last ability I cast, and if I have to use an ammo pad, I'll make sure I say so. So in Lua Conjunction, we're also going to have mixed enemies, so they're not just all going to be Grineer. Looks like the first set of life supports is about 150 meters away, which isn't too bad. You do have to be careful with Lua spawns because they're pretty bad. There's like a maximum amount of enemies that can be on the field at once. And they take a very long time to move from one place to another. So, like, if I just ran over to those life supports right now, I'm going to be sitting there for like 2 minutes before these guys go over there. And I want to be able to farm the small yellow life supports. So I'm kind of slowly making my way there while killing guys. Right, I'm going to hit this first life support just because we're at almost 70. So that'll get us to 100 exactly. And then I'll start farming yellows. I'm going to meet this group halfway so I can efficiently try to farm some yellow life supports. I think we're finally getting spawns in this room. Alright, we're doing pretty good. We've only hit 1 life support so far, but we've kind of topped off with yellows after that. Now at 5 minutes, we're going to get Thraxes, which are kind of like Super Eximuses. So just like the Eximuses, this weapon will do okay against them. It'll do a little bit better if you had Aptitude instead of Serration on. But it's not going to do great on them. Even with Aptitude, it's not going to do that great on them. Sometimes average weapons at the 5-minute mark will fail this test, just because you know, they can't kill the Thraxes quick enough when you run out of life support, and they're not killing the small guys quick enough. Which, I mean, I'm killing these small guys somewhat efficiently, but I'm not in the most efficient location to get the most out of my punch through. You just have to remember that when you're playing single target weapons, the way that you make them feel like as good as AoE weapons is by playing them smartly, like trying to get enemies lined up for your punch through, like this right here. You know, then it doesn't feel that bad. You're like, oh, okay, like it's kind of like as strong as an AoE weapon. But then when you're fighting, you know, dudes by themselves, like one at a time, of course, it's feels a lot weaker.
Those oculists are scanning for targets.
All right, we're gonna have the Acolyte coming in. I'm gonna hit this life support here just to top to 100, so I don't have to worry about it while I'm fighting him, because we're also gonna have Thraxus coming in like 45 seconds. I'm gonna try to get him down quickly. That way I can just focus on Thraxus, but I have a feeling I won't be able to get him down before the Thraxus spawn.
The sentient is onto you. Look out for triggers.
I usually just kind of like backpedal while I'm fighting the Acolyte, just because you don't want to let him beat on you. And if you backpedal, he usually can't get a lot of hits on you. So he's almost dead. Oh, I am out of ammo. I'm going to be using an ammo pad. It's the first ammo pad here. Bad time to run out of ammo. We're going to get Thraxus here pretty soon. All right, I'm going to have to switch to Thraxus immediately. So now they're my main priority.
Extraction is ready.
Just because they're going to be the ones sucking life support.
The void has summoned
If I can kill Angst through punch through, that's cool.
life
But
support. Destroy
Thraxus are going to be main priority.
stations.
Weapon got stolen. So you see, like, this is where average weapons are going to usually die on this run here. Just because you need to get these Thraxes down quick. Try to get back up to full stacks of scope and then switch right back to that Thrax. I need to hit a life support. Closest one is 200 meters. We might fail this right here if I can't get to this. And even if I can get to this, it's going to be sucked pretty quickly. I'm going to hit both of these life supports, and then I have to go back immediately to the Thraxes. And I probably will not be able to stabilize after them. I'm going to see if I can at least get them down and the Acolyte down before the 5-minute mark. But, or before the, I run out of air, I should say. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And again, look at my ammo there, so we're going to have ammo issues. I'm going to kill this Thrax here. I'm going to see, I'm going to do one more ammo pad. Angst is right in front of me, so I'm just going to finish him off. Where's the other Thrax? He's up there. So yeah, we're out of air. So this did fail the 5-minute mark, which is kind of normal for average weapons. So at this point, we had gotten 193 kills. So I am going to kill the Thrax and the Acolyte before I leave, though. There we go. I was waiting for that ammo pad to give me some ammo. Finish off Angst. He's been giving me angst this whole time. He's dead. Oh, now you want to give me good orange crits on the Thrax. It was like I was fighting to keep up scope stacks during the initial fight. All right, so I'm going to head to Extraction here. We'll go over the build one more time, and then I'm going to pull out that meme build just to kind of show you guys. Have a little fun with this.
practice to strike. You strike to win. The lesson ends.
Okay, so the build is going to be the Prisma Grakata. It's a primary assault rifle that you get from Barokatir. Special things about it are not really too much. Doesn't really have that much like special unique things. It does have an above average critical damage multiplier. And then it has some unique, let me type this in, Grakata. Has some unique mods that it comes with. Or not comes with, it doesn't actually. You need to buy these or hope that they come around on rotation at some point because some of these are very expensive. So Wild Frenzy, or I should show this one first. This is the most mild one. Brainstorm on headshot, 100% ammo efficiency for 0.5 seconds. Meh, it's okay. But this one here, Wild Frenzy. Secondary fire will shoot with 400% fire rate until the magazine is empty. And then killing 2 or more enemies will refund 100% of the ammo. So that it's very memey. It's not, you could make a build that would kill Steel Path enemies with this. But it also takes you out of aiming. So like you can't get an orange crit build with it. It would be white and yellows. So white non-crits and yellow like small crits. But you could make a build with this. It's a little bit more memey, though, than it actually is good. Okay, so for the actual build, we're going to be going Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot. Galvanized Scope for crit chance. It's going to put you into just barely into full orange crits. As soon as you lose one Galvanized Scope stack, you will be into oranges with a little bit of yellow sprinkled in. And the more Scope stacks you lose, you're going to see more and more yellows. Serration for flat damage, and there's 2 options for this slot. So Serration will feel better against smaller enemies. And then Galvanized Aptitude is the other option. And Galvanized Aptitude will feel better against Eximuses, Thraxes, and the Acolyte. So those are they're 2 good options. Kind of up to you what you feel like. And then the other one is going to be Bladed Rounds. So I like to the way I like to view bladed rounds is if a weapon is an orange crits, like it justifies me maybe switching the Serration or the Galvanized Aptitude slot with bladed rounds. Now this weapon is like barely in full orange crits because of the Galvanized Scope. You have to be at like full 5 stacks. So it's up to you if you want to put bladed rounds there instead of either Serration or Aptitude. Oops, went out of there. Next slot here, we're going to be going for Prime Shred for fire rate and punch through. If Prime Shred is going to be the best in this slot, but it's a login reward, so if you don't have Prime Shred, just put any other fire rate mod, it's okay. Critical Delay and Vital Sense for just a easy crit chance, crit damage mod. Got a lot of crit without Hunter Munitions. So I'll kind of explain how Hunter Munitions works here. So it applies a slash on a critical. Now, when you deal that critical, you get 0 damage from Hunter Munitions. The first instance of Hunter Munitions damage starts 1 second after the slash was applied. So 1 second after that critical was applied, or the slash was applied, you will get your first tick of damage. And every second after that, you will get another tick of damage. Now, of course, the more slash procs you have, the more ticks it will cause. The other thing to consider is the size of the slash procs. So slash procs are not all created equally. So if we think, like, let's just think of the Rubico. Everyone kind of knows the Rubico. It's a big, giant sniper rifle, does a crap load of damage. Well, if you put Hunter Munitions on the Rubico, it might produce 1 slash proc. But that 1 slash proc you get on the Rubico would probably be bigger than like 100 slash procs that you get on the Grakata. And it's because the Grakata is a low damage weapon, and so the slashes you're getting on it are extremely small, almost unnoticeable. You have to get like hundreds before you actually notice a good chunk of damage being caused. And again, they take multiple seconds for them to deal their full potential of damage. And so I personally like hunter munitions on large weapons where I know the first tick will kill them. Like, the Rubico, you go to shoot, if it doesn't kill the enemy, you know you don't even have to shoot at the enemy again because that slash proc is just going to take, 50% of his health gone. The Grakata is not like that. It's very small damage, and so you're going to be producing these little piddly slash procs, and you need to have like 100 on them for it to equal like one Rubico slash. So that's why we're not going to be going with hunter munitions. Okay, and then we're going to go for viral here with toxin and prime cryo rounds. Now, if you don't have prime cryo rounds, use the 60-60 instead. The 90 cryo rounds is not really good enough. It's a little bit too in the middle. Prime cryo rounds gives you more damage. The 60-60 gives you more status. Like, those are both good. They're kind of equal with each other. So if you don't have prime cryo rounds, like, don't even worry about it. Just put rhyme rounds here, and it's probably going to be as strong as prime cryo. But I like prime cryo just for a little bit more damage. And again, Whispers content. In Whispers content, enemies are going to be resistant to and immune to viral. So use corrosive instead for Whispers. Stabilizer in the Exilus slot. The other option is going to be primed rifle ammo mutation. You saw how many ammo pads I had to use. So if you were going to use the Prisma Grakata as your main damage source like I was doing, primed rifle ammo mutation will probably be better than stabilizer, especially because we're already getting some recoil reduction with our deadhead. So primed rifle ammo mutation will probably be better than stabilizer if you're using it as your main damage source. If you're just using it as like, hey, this is my primary and I have a secondary I switch to once in a while and shoot, you shouldn't have ammo issues because you'll be switching back and forth. So just consider that. And then for the arcane, we're going to be going with primary deadhead. It's a pretty easy choice. It beats out the other arcanes. Just going to be 360% flat damage, 30% headshot multiplier, and some reduction to recoil. That's pretty much it for the build. It's a pretty standard build. I mean, if you watch other videos, it's pretty much exactly how I build them. This slot right here is always the one that has like multiple options for it. But it also is usually a Riven slot too, because it's like the weakest slot. 160 flat damage is not really that great. So, you would plop a Riven over in this slot. Okay, now I'm going to just, I usually end the video here, but I'm going to do a little bit of a meme thing for you guys. I set up this build here. So we're going to be using Wild Frenzy. It's going to give us 400% fire rate. We're going to be using Prime Shred for 55% fire rate. Speed Trigger for 60% fire rate. Vile Acceleration for 90% fire rate. Vigilante Fervor for 45% fire rate. And there was actually another fire rate mod, but you needed to be aimed in for you to get the effect of it. And unfortunately, Wild Frenzy knocks you out of being aimed in, so I couldn't use that one. And just so we can actually do some damage with this, I put Chamber, Serration, and I could have put something better here, but I was running low on capacity, and I didn't want to have to form it just for a meme setup. So I just put Point Strike for crit chance there. So I'm just going to go into like the Kuva survival, and we can just do it. I'm not going to do a full 5 minutes. I'm just going to kind of go in there and just shoot a bit with it. You can see how ridiculous it is. Where is the Kuva Fortress? So it has a 120 round magazine, and with all of these, it like dumps it in about like a second or a second and a half. It just dumps the entire magazine.
Scans show Grenier are harvesting Kuva nearby. Set off the alarms to draw them out, then steal their Kuva catalysts.
So that's how quick it's going to be.
As expected,
120 rounds right there.
Sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain.
Now, of course, if you can get a headshot, it's going to refund all your ammo. But on Steel Path enemies without like other mods increasing, damage or crit damage, it's actually going to be very hard to get kills with this. But it was just something funny I kind of wanted to show, like the potential of having, I don't even know what the numbers are. It's probably about like 600, 700% fire rate. You know, and of course you could like, you know, use this with Harrow that gives you more fire rate and make it even more ridiculous. But this is kind of like a meme setup, so I'm just gonna abort this here. I just kind of wanted to show you guys how ridiculous that was. I thought it would be fun. Okay, so yeah, that's the Prisma Grakata. It is a average steel path weapon. It's worth building, and I would say it's worth building out for steel path, especially like if you don't have access to, you know, some of the crazy incarnans or some of like the really strong Kuva or Tenet weapons. Like it'll get you through steel path. It'll get you through steel path. It's very average, but it'll do its job. I like it, and it does have, you know, the meme potential. It's Clem's little Grakata, so you know you have that. So. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. If you liked it on YouTube, give it a like, and have a good day, guys.